How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to put this whole thing about Ben Carson and a $31,000 table with chairs to rest. I've been hearing about this a lot all over the internets, all over the news. This has been reported widely. Now, if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know what the controversy is, it was reported that Ben Carson, who was a HUD secretary, went and redecorated his office and spent $31,000 on basically like a new table and some other little trinkets when the limit was only going to be $5,000. If it was above $5,000, it had to go through a whole approval process, but the approval process did not happen. It was also alleged that a staffer who was in charge of being able to procure the items and stick to the budget was let go because she did not want to go above the budget. She was told allegedly to just find the money. I've been seeing this all over the place. It's a way to try and disparage Ben Carson, and it's kind of racist, and I'll explain. I ain't just throwing that R word around very lightly. After we get done watching this clip from Ben Carson where he explains everything that's going on, he tells you all the details. I'll break that down, and then I'll give you my 2 cents and wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
First of all, when I assumed the position, I was told that traditionally secretaries redecorate their offices. I came in, I looked at it. You know, I'm not really big into decorating. If it was up to me, my office would probably look like a hospital waiting room. But at any rate, you know, I invited my wife to come in and help me. Downstairs at the sub-basement, we have a bunch of used furniture. We went down, made a couple of changes, had some drapes added, which were down in the basement also, and some blinds for the window. The total cost of renovation, $3,500. A few months later, I was told that the dining rooms needed to be changed. I said, why? Because people being stuck by nails, a chair collapsed with somebody sitting in it. It's 50 years old. I said, okay, we can potentially do that. I asked my wife also to help me with that. They showed us some catalogs. The prices were beyond what I wanted to pay. I made it clear that that just didn't seem right to me. And, you know, I left it with my wife. I said, you know, help choose something. But I said, the money that is going to be used, we need to take care of the deputy secretary's office. And, you know, whatever's left over, you know, take care of the dining room furniture. It was very important to do that, and I realized that, but I had so many other things to do at that point. You know, I had no assistant secretaries. I had no deputy secretary. You know, I was running from place to place dealing with a lot of important issues, so I really wasn't that concerned about furniture. You know, the next thing that I quite frankly heard about it was that this $31,000 table had been bought. I said, what the heck is that all about? Investigated, immediately had it canceled. Not that we don't need the furniture, but I thought that that was excessive. There were reports that, you know, I said that I had no involvement. I always said what my involvement was in it. You know, it makes for a wonderful story. Carson wants to, you know, take down the budget, but he wants to buy this expensive furniture, but it bears no resemblance to the truth. But we did use that opportunity to say what internal controls allowed this to happen in the first place. Because we've been spending a lot of time looking at what's going on externally. And, you know, there are a lot of issues. And we finally got a CFO in December, and we've been able to address those. But now we've added, you know, things that are closer to home to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again.
All right, so you see what's going on there. You see what's happening. And now let's get to the first things first. Some would say that he threw his wife under the bus. He tried to blame her for the whole situation. He's not taking personal responsibility. But obviously, Ben Carson is not the kind of guy that's going to be doing any kind of interior decorating. I mean, the man's a brain surgeon and just, you know, became appointed to political office after he had not really been involved with it that much. Okay, he was just a citizen who had a very high IQ and skill who got summoned to get into politics. So he's not interested really in all this stuff that goes on, especially not, like I said, interior design. He has his wife to help him, which is what wives do. They're going to help with things like this, with interior decorating and food. They're going to help in that way. That's what they're really good at. Don't get triggered. I said that to all the feminists out there, but I'm gonna go ahead and digress. So he says to his wife, hey, can I get some help with this whole situation? Now, he did not say that she was responsible for purchasing the table. All he said was he had her to come in there and help. A lot of news outlets are trying to say that he blamed his wife, but that's not what I heard in that clip. If you heard something different, please let me know in the comments below. But at the end of the day, this is really a nothing burger. I pretty much knew what was going on right when the story happened. They're trying to say that Ben Carson spent all this money. Why would Ben Carson spend $31,000 on the table? For what reason? He has no need. Like he said in the clip, he wouldn't care for like a hospital waiting room. After all, the man is a brain surgeon. That's where he spent a lot of his time, in those kind of environments. So it doesn't really matter to him how it looks. He just happens to see a report afterwards that it cost $31,000 and they got canceled. So the report of him spending $31,000 on the table is not even right. The order went out there, but it did not get fulfilled because he canceled it. So he did not spend the $31,000 on the table. It was going to be spent, but he stopped it before it was able to go through, according to his own testimony. Now, like I said earlier about the staffer, I don't know what's going on with that. It's probably some behind the scene things that are going on that he has no dealings with. He has people that are helping them, people that are already been there, people that are interested in the transition process. They help with the whole situation. So they're probably handling it. He's not really caring about a table and some chairs. He has more important issues to be dealing with. You're talking about people's lives, these programs that really help a lot of people or hinder people. He's trying to figure out the best way to serve the country, not about a table and some chairs to replace a very old table and chairs. And like he said in the clip, the only reason why they were going to replace it is because the old one was in shambles. If it was up to Ben Carson himself, he would have said, yo, put a folding table and some church chairs in there and call it a day. But obviously you can't really do that in that kind of environment. If you're having important meetings, you have serious people that come to the place, so you want to have something that looks very nice and professional. The $31,000, I don't know how you would spend that much money on the table, but I think they still probably would have gotten the table if it went through the approval process. It probably was just the drop ball as far as the process to get these things is concerned. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all. Hopefully I don't see any more about this whole situation. Now, as I close, I want to talk about the whole racism part. You know, when I said I think it's racist before I cut to the clip, some of you may have kind of cringed. It's like, come on, ABL, don't call it racist. Don't throw that word around. But I'll explain. A lot of folks don't like Ben Carson because he is a conservative and black. Okay. And that comes from people of all different races that happen to be mostly on the left or far left. Not the average everyday person, the centrist normie who's not really involved with politics, or people that have a brain in their head. I'm talking about those that are kind of far on the spectrum. A lot of black folks don't like him because they think he's supposed to be a liberal, like Barack Obama, who did nothing for the black community, who really made the black community suffer. But that's a whole different story, and I digress. They want him to be more like Hillary Clinton, who also was not a fan of black people, robbed Haiti, and called young black gangbangers super predators back in the 1990s. If it was a conservative like Trump who did those things that Hillary Clinton did, he would be called more of a racist than he already is. It'd be a constant everyday thing. Everybody on both sides of the aisle would say it. But since Hillary did it and she's on the left, it's no big deal. So that's my point about it being racist. Him being on the right is bad enough, but then him being black is like people are ashamed of him. They want to call him retarded. They want to call him dumb. How can somebody be dumb and retarded, have a low IQ, and be crazy when they are a brain surgeon? I mean, literally, literally a brain surgeon. You know how you would do a thing that's very difficult, or somebody thinks it's difficult and you say, hey, it's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. This man literally is a brain surgeon. Separated conjoined twins. This is somebody that had a movie about himself before he came into politics. So how can you call this man, who has made a career out of his skill of brain surgery, all around the world recognize. How can you call him crazy? It doesn't make any sense. But like I said, it's because he's black and a conservative. If it was a white conservative that was a brain surgeon before, he wouldn't be called crazy, kooky, or whatever. He would just be maybe called a racist because he's white. And that's pretty much what it is. I think the more that the left, the mainstream media, which is basically a personification, the outlet, the voice of the left, as long as they keep doing things like this, trying to attack Ben Carson for non-starter stories, trying to throw him under the bus, trying to throw his wife under the bus, as long as they keep doing things like this, we're going to keep getting steam over here on the right, or at least in the center, because people are just shying away from that. It's like, this story is so dumb, it's so crazy, it's such a non-story, and you keep harping on it. The same thing with the Russia kerfuffle and all these other stories that have been out there in the news for the past 2 or 3 months, years, or whatever. As long as they keep doing that, they're going to push people away. They may be able to gain viewers that are on their side, but at the same time, they're losing viewers who are on the center spectrum or on the right. So what do you think? Do you think this is an egregious offense for Ben Carson to allow an order for this very expensive table to get placed? And let's not forget, I'm going to say it one more time in case you forgot it or slipped past you. The order for the table did not get fulfilled. Ben Carson canceled the order. So all that was spent was below the $5 grand. And that's just what that was. I think even Rafi Williams said that. Rafi Williams, by the way, that's Juan Williams' son. He's involved with the whole situation. I think he's one of the staffers or something over there. He said that only $3,500 got spent. The order got placed for the table, but the order did not get fulfilled once Ben Carson found out. Is it really a story? Do we need to be concerned about Ben Carson misappropriating funds? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.